These short videos are going to help you know exactly what you're going to need to do for a whole week of camp. Camp Hallawasa is a great time that you're going to spend with a group of kids, elementary age to high school, depending on what you volunteered for. You'll get up in the morning with them. You'll spend the day with them. You'll be doing a lot of activities, basic day activities, eating and hiking and playing games and doing Bible studies, songs, all kinds of things. But a week of camp is a chance to spend this entire time focused on the purpose of our camp, which is building relationships and helping these kids build relationships with God, with one another, and with nature. In fact, the better you prepare camp beforehand, the easier the week of camp is going to be. Your responsibility as a director is to get your staff, and you have to have all of those people committed beforehand. The earlier, the better. And these are things you'll prepare beforehand. You're not on your own. You'll be working with the camp board. They'll be able to help you. They have board meetings every month through the winter. You're encouraged to go to those board meetings so you can keep communication up with them about what you need, what you've gotten, and you'll be preparing an itinerary for your week. Not only your daily schedule, which will give you a sample of your daily schedule, but you'll adjust that to what you want for your camp, the special activities you'll want to do during the week, planning when that's going to take place, what you need for each of those activities. So the younger the kids, the more complete you may need to make your schedule. They need to have a plan for just about all the time throughout the day. But as the campers get older, middle school and up to high school, you can incorporate more free time in there with activities. We have a lot of activities they can be doing, different games and stuff. They can keep themselves busy. But the younger camp, you need to have them directed most of the time. Well, I think it's huge benefits to that because not only does it give your staff a chance to let you know what's happening in their tents, ask any questions they might have, or interact with one another. If there are some potential conflicts with kids, those things can be talked about, prayed about. But you want to let your staff know that they are being supported by you, the director. And so bringing them together, have a time, pick a time, and you might have to be flexible on how you do that, what works best for your particular camp. Mornings often work good while the rest of the campers are showering and getting ready for breakfast. You can have your staff get ready beforehand so you can have 15, 20 minutes to talk, to pray together, go over what's happening for the day so they know what's coming up, um, and then ask the staff if they need anything so that you're supporting them. And as the week goes on, maybe a staff member needs a half an hour to take a nap. You can cover that and let them do that. You're just practically taking care of one another and finding out what's happening amongst all the kids. A staff meeting every day is really important. So the good director is going to be able to take charge. Uh, they want to be authoritative without being a dictator. So you're going to want to earn respect. You'll want to be able to build a positive relationship with your staff and with your campers, but you're not there to be buddy buddy with the campers. You are the one in charge. You're going to have a positive attitude. You're going to be excited. You're going to think that every day is the greatest day on earth because that attitude is going to rub off on the campers. You're going to keep things moving along. You're going to be able to discern when uh, things need to change and be flexible and willing to make those changes. Um, you're going to hold the same standards. So if the kids see you playing favorites, that's not going to work. Hold the same standards for everybody. Be fair. Uh, be stern when you have to be stern. Hand out consequences when they need to be handed out, but make them fun and don't, again, never humiliate a kid, but try to build it into a positive thing with the campers. Those all make for a good director. Be prepared, and all these other things will come a lot easier. That's a great question because one of the things you want to emphasize, especially as the director, you're setting the tone for camp. So you emphasize, we are going to have a great time this week. It's going to be an awesome camp. You're going to start that way and emphasize that from the beginning and encourage kids with that. The kids will follow what your expectations are. So if you expect a great week, that helps them to have a great week. But in terms of that, they're going to follow your expectations in terms of the needed behaviors to make a good camp. And so right from the beginning, you want to set the bar high. We talk in another video how we only have 3 basic rules. You emphasize them. That no whining or complaining, you emphasize that positive attitude throughout. But when it comes to respecting one another, one of the key ways we talk about respecting each other is for the kids to learn to be quiet and pay attention when they need to. So let them know camp is a relational camp. We want you to talk and have fun building relationships with one another and with counselors and staff and all that kind of stuff. But there are certain times when it's not time to talk with one another, it's time to listen. And of course, one of the key times is Bible time, that you're not talking with one another there. You're focused on and paying attention to the speaker. But also, whenever any of the staff, whether it's the cooks, director, games director, when they're trying to explain or give instructions, if the kids are all talking amongst themselves, they miss half the instructions. You're having to repeat yourself constantly. You're having to yell to try to get attention. All of that creates a negative chaos that hurts the camp. So you want to make sure from the very beginning they're paying attention. Be strict, set that expectation in a positive way. Tell them, hey, this is the reason we do this is it makes camp go smooth. It makes it so you can have a great time. It makes it so we can spend more time playing games and less time having to go over instructions again and stuff. So set it positively instead of a negative, you can't do this type of thing. And then enforce it well, especially the first day or two of camp. If you enforce it well, those first beginning parts of camp, the rest of camp will go smooth. So, hey, at camp, we want everyone to have a great time, and part of a great time is keeping everybody safe. And so we've got different things lined up for the director to help him with that. There is an emergency guideline document, which you should have gotten emailed to you when you became a director. This is a worst case scenario document. So most likely we'll never need, but we want to have this in case it's needed. In case of a fire, in case of a lost camper, in case of a tornado, this type of thing. How do we handle that? Read that and be familiar with that. Don't worry about memorizing it. There's a copy available for you in the filing cabinet in the director's room at camp, but you want to familiarize yourself with that beforehand. The biggest part of safety for camp is, of course, going to be your accidents that happen, your scraped knees, your falls, this type of thing. So one of the best things you can do is make sure you have a good nurse. A well-qualified, trained nurse will help a lot. She is the one, or he is the one, that would be able to handle any incidents that happen with accidents. She could help you decide whether or not this needs to go to the emergency room or can be handled right there at camp, and would be able to take care of, especially with the younger camps, kids that just need a little extra tender loving care and encouragement through any types of owies and hurts. But also in terms of safety, and this is important, in our day and culture, we have to really think of taking precautions against any possibility of sexual assault or even accusation of sexual assault. We know from statistics that 1 in 10 kids will suffer some type of sexual abuse by the time they're 18. The numbers could actually even be higher than that, but that's conservative numbers. We don't want any chance of that happening at camp. So we have the rule of 3 in place, which means basically this: you're never alone with a camper. A counselor a director, a camp cook. It doesn't matter what staff position. You're never alone with a kid. Now, that doesn't mean you can't be one-on-one with a camper, because sometimes they're going to want to talk one-on-one. Things come up during the week of camp. Things can come out of their hearts where they need someone to talk with. We want to be available for that. But when you're talking one-on-one, you need to be sure to do that in a place that is visible to others around you. So you can be public and yet still private. You can be over by yourself, but still seen by others. If it's a very sensitive subject that a camper really wants to be alone, then you need to tell the camper, hey, we have to bring one other person in on this. And you can let them decide who would that be. You can offer the director, another counselor of the at the camp. Maybe they've connected with one of the cooks, this type of thing. But you need to have three at all times so that we can protect ourselves from anything happening at camp. So ideally, you're going to have just one game director is typically good enough. You need at least two full-time cooks. A third is nice. Um, Counselors are vitally important. The minimum requirement is one counselor per 8 campers, but ideally you would have more than that, one counselor per 4 or 5 campers. If you end up with more counselors, that's a great situation. You can always put 2 counselors in one tent. And then even as more staff is better. That just makes the week run better, and that includes even the director. We strongly encourage every director to find a co-director. Uh, in my personal opinion, ideally, a husband and wife team is great because you get that female-male connection both with the campers too. But having a co-director allows, um, for instance, if hey, we forgot to get water balloons for water day, director can run into town, or the co-director can run into town while the rest of the camp is still going on and all the activities are happening. So co-directors are great. More staff is always a good thing, but your minimums are what was listed there.
Two other positions that are needed for the week of camp, but they are flex positions, meaning they could be done by a director or a counselor, are the camp speaker and the camp nurse.
So getting the right speaker for camp is an important thing, but also one of the more difficult aspects for the director to find and get a speaker committed for a week. We do pay the speakers. That's the only paid position at camp. So that is some incentive we can offer, but we don't pay a lot. And so it can be difficult, but you need a speaker who, first of all, is not doing it because of the money, who is willing to come and spend and invest that time in the kids. You need someone who agrees with our statement of faith. The camp does have a statement of faith, which is very basic, but make sure that we're on track biblically with what we believe as a camp. And you need a speaker who can relate to the kids. So, yes, you want them to be engaging, you want them to keep the kids' attention, and to transmit valuable, good biblical information, practical on how's it going to impact their lives today as a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 17-year-old, or the younger camps. And so you're looking for all of those things. I found that one of the best aspects of a speaker is someone who can build relationships with kids in that short period of time, that is able to connect and engage. Even if they're not the most dynamic speaker, if the kids know they really care about them and have that connection, they'll listen and learn from them. So this is one position we haven't talked about yet, said that you need to get them. It's important to have a games director because that person is planning the activities that the kids will be doing as a group, um, and and having fun games you play at camp is a huge part of a successful week. And so they're going to plan, it, depending on what you have as your schedule. I had games in the morning, like an hour before lunch, to get them running and active there. I wanted my games director to have some activities planned then. Afternoon might be bigger activities, going for a hike, doing water games for a day, some big activities that take more coordination, night games you're going to plan. But they're the ones planning all those different activities for the kids that keep them busy and have things for them, fun things for them to do, unusual games that they wouldn't necessarily play other way anywhere else, but also regular games. Um, and so this isn't something that a director can easily do by himself while he's directing camp and keeping charge of things. So have a games director that has time and and plans all these activities out. Let them know how much time they need to plan for, number of kids, things that'll be going on. Have them keep in mind that you got to plan twice as much as you think you're going to need, because some games will be a flop and you need to move right on to your next game. Some days it'll be 100 degrees and you can't play the running games like you thought you were going to. Rainstorms are going to come, so you're going to move everything inside. You're planning games and activities that they can do to keep the kids busy all week long. So currently, right now, we have Jesse as our groundskeeper. He does a great job working all year round, uh, cleaning up the camp property and keeping it in good shape for the weeks of camp. During the weeks of camp, Jesse is more than willing to be involved in whatever ways you want him. But that is specifically up to the directors of what you would want him to do or not do during your camp. So you just need to be very clear with him on what you would want his role to be for your week of camp. He's great at helping clean up. He loves to be involved with the kids. He'd like to sit in on the Bible times. He likes to eat meals with them, and we encourage that. He'll take care of the garbage and getting that taken up. But if there's other roles you want him to do or things you don't want him to do, just let him know, and he's very willing to follow what you desire. The best camps are the ones where you can trust your staff, where you know they know what your expectations are and you know they're going to follow them. That being said, there's, nobody's perfect, so you want to be checking in the sense of, do they need anything, a little checking in here and there to make sure they're following what your expectations are can be okay. But the best rule of thumb is to trust them to do the things you've told them to do, but then to follow up with, hey, how are things going with you? Do you have any areas where you need help? Is there anything I can do to make it better for you? That type of thing. So if they need something, they feel that freedom to ask you. Man, ideally is you can get your staff to come the night before camp begins so that you spend that evening together. Uh, you can go over the videos together. You can talk about them. You can start building good relationships amongst your staff, and you can have some time to to enjoy a little peace and quiet before the rush of camp starts. Sleeping at camp, getting everything set up personally that you want to get set up, so you're not rushing and trying to do that the day that camp starts. So, man, that's ideal if you can get there Saturday night, have a meal together, go over the videos, talk, have some fun together, build relationships, get a good night's sleep, sleep in a little bit, and then be ready to go the next day. If you can't do that, the next best, of course, is have everybody there 4 or 5 hours before any campers are going to arrive, so you have some time to go over it, watch the videos together, answer questions, and spend a little time praying together, talking about your expectations. Expectations are huge. Make sure everybody knows what those expectations are and keep them positive. And that's also when you're talking to your campers for the first time. You're laying out expectations. Worst case scenario, you get the videos out to your staff beforehand. They watch them before they come to camp, and then before campers arrive, you go over any questions and lay out what you feel are the most important things that they need to do. The last thing to keep in mind, uh, if you don't know the answer to some question you have as director, that's what the board is there for. You've got the numbers to the current chairman and vice chairman of the board. Call them. They are a resource for you. They've been through this before. They have a lot of ideas and suggestions. So don't be afraid to call the camp board and ask any questions you have.